Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. How's everybody doing? It is Friday, January 5th, 2018. I almost said 17 because that's what happens here in the beginning of the year. Can't quite come to grips with the fact that it's the new year. Hopefully I won't trip over that too much. Anyway, I hope that everybody is doing well. I hope that you had a fabulous new year. I hope that all of your new starts and all of your resolutions, I hope that this is the year. I hope that this is the year for you. Our new year got off to a bit of a start. And I say a start with this face for a reason. So we have a new tradition in my house. And this tradition is one that I would like to get rid of, but we'll just see how it goes. Apparently, my whole house gets sick sometime around New Year's, either shortly before or shortly thereafter. I told you guys last year that Danny caught the flu for the first time in 12 years, shortly after New Year, a year ago. And this year, he got a really, really nasty, persistent cold shortly before New Year. So, yeah. And then I caught the dregs of it. I don't have near what he did. Like, I'm not feeling like a zombie. But I don't feel great. And I'm still a little sniffly. So this one, number one, might be a little weird because cold meds have kicked in. And so we'll see what happens. Number two, there will be a bunch of breaks, probably for sneezing, coughing, and or drinking water to try to keep my voice going. Because we have a long one ahead of us. Yeah, it's the new year, and so I have started all of the things, and I want to talk about it. So here's what we've got on the table for today. I am going to borrow from Bendy Stitchy Michelle Garrett her best new thing in the world today, because there is a thing. I have some projects that I've worked on. I have some upcoming immediate plans. I have a very short, real short segment on my Bujo. Just one little thing I want to go over with you. I have some things that I have received, although I might talk about those earlier than usual. You'll understand why. And then I also have books and knits, because all of the things. So, real quickly, I have decided to bring back the books and the knitting conversations more frequently, more regularly. And the reason for that is going to be related to my best new thing in the world today. I'm only going to use this time, but I have a best new thing in the world today. And that is a new FlossTube channel. It is a best new thing in the world today, this day right here. It's a brand new thing. And this channel is a mother-daughter duo. They posted about their video on Mania early this morning, and I had a feeling it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to be so soon, but I'm so excited. And it is Brittany and Lily, and they together are Vol Stitcher, as in Vol, the Tennessee Volunteers. So, first of all, their channel is going to be linked down below. Please go watch it and give them some love. They are fabulous, both of them. I watched their video this morning, but then I got up to get ready to go, to get ready to film here, and so I'm going to watch it again so that I can leave a comment, because I didn't get a chance to. I was trying to get filming, and of course it's 1:30 in the afternoon, but, you know, things and stuff. Anyway, check them out. Their first video was so good. Brittany introduces us to the projects that she finished in 2017, and then the projects that she's either starting or working on here in 2018. And she said that she's bringing no whips from last year into this year, but don't you have that one, the Hawaiian girl ornament that's from last year that's coming into this year? Or am I mistaken? I don't know. Cold meds. I'm going to have to rewatch the video, like I said. Anyway, and so she is really getting into the stitching community. And then they together did the Get to Know Your Needleworker tag. And so that was just a lot of fun to watch. So I am not normally first on the scene for the new FlossTubers. I'm not normally like I'm normally hearing about new FlossTubers through other people. So how on earth did I catch on to Brittany and Lily of All Stitcher? And so I knew that this was coming. I knew that the video was coming. I knew that the channel was getting started because I've been talking with Brittany a few times over the last couple days. You might have seen on Stitch Mania, but a few days ago, Brittany tagged me in a post. I got pinged on Facebook, and I'm reading through this post, and below the text is a picture of a young girl reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And so I read through the post, and then I cry, and then I wipe my face because I gotta get the makeup off my eyes so that I can read through it again. So here's what happened. Brittany and Lily have been binge watching my videos, which kudos to y'all, because I've put out some doozies of long videos over the years. It's been 4.5 years. But they've been binge watching my channel. And through the course of the last few years, I have talked a lot about my love of reading, and I've talked about Harry Potter quite a bit. And up until recently, Lily hasn't loved reading all that much. But after hearing me go on and on about Harry Potter, she picked it up. And now she's reading and she's enjoying it. Because of my FlossTube videos. Are you kidding me right now? I am overwhelmed. I am without words, truly, to describe how huge that feels to me. Just by, in passing, without meaning to, talking about a thing that I am passionate about, somebody else, a young somebody else, picked it up, gave it a try, and has hit the ground running. Like, now she's all about the reading. That's astounding to me. That was, the greatest gift that a stranger has ever given me in my life. So, Lily, quick shout out, girl. Keep it up. I have decided that from now on, when I talk about books, I'm going to mention the ones that are Lily reads. So these are books that I think Lily would like, at least at this point. I read a lot of adult things, which is super boring, but I also read a lot of young adult and some middle grade things, and so I'm gonna point those books out. So Lily, you have some things that you might want to check out in the future. But you have the greatest story ever written to get through first. So enjoy it and keep it up. So proud to hear that. And so now I can officially say that I have 2 Vol friends. Don't tell my husband. You guys may know, you may recall that last year, early September last year, Virginia Tech went down to Bristol, and we had the battle at Bristol Motor Speedway, for the largest attendance to a college football game in the history of college football. And at that game, we played and lost to the Tennessee Volunteers. Yeah, so I'm watching this, so it pops up that the channel is Vol Stitcher. And I went, oh no, is she a volunteer? Are they Vols? Are they really? And then Brittany comes on the screen and she's wearing the orange and you can see the little T emblem and I'm like, oh no. So yeah, so we had that one rival game, because Bristol Motor Speedway, coincidentally enough, is dead center between Blacksburg, Virginia and Knoxville, Tennessee. Dead center is Bristol Motor Speedway. That's kind of cool. So I guess I've got 2 Vol friends, but don't tell my husband because he doesn't care too much for the SEC. In fact, he really dislikes the SEC. Such as it is. So anyway, so please do yourself a favor, go check out their channel. They're wonderful, and I am so excited to see what they do. If Brittany posts sporadically or monthly or weekly or daily, I don't care. I'll be there. So excited. You would think that this post was gift enough for me. I mean, you guys know my appreciation for reading. It's obviously been spewed all over the internet. Everybody knows that Jessie likes to read. But they wanted to do something further. And so Brittany contacted me via Facebook Messenger and was like, hey, can I have your email address? I want to send you a thing. And Lily wants to send you a thing. And I went, you guys, you don't have to do this. This was the greatest thing. But here's my email anyway, because I don't want to be that stubborn. Anyway, so they sent me to Heaven and Earth Designs. And the first one is from Lily, and on it was a message that said, thank you for getting me to read Harry Potter. And I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and I'm like trying not to cry. And it is Water Dragon, and so you'll be seeing a preview here of what that looks like. And the artist there is Anne Stokes. And they pulled up my wish list on Heaven and Earth Designs to find these charts. And Water Dragon has been on my wish list the absolute longest. The absolute longest. So I thought that was just crazy serendipitous. Just that would be the one that she picks out. So I might have to find a way to start that this year. I was trying to limit the Hade starts, you guys know, but I might have to start it. So we'll see. The other is also, there goes Thor. The other was also really interesting because the title is very telling, and it is called 100 Years, which is approximately how long it would take me to finish this thing. But it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And it is by Josephine Wall, and so picture of that here. I can't get over this design. Heaven and Earth Designs has recently changed their preview images on their website. And so a lot of them have these, when you click on it, the click here to view larger, it pulls up this big screen encapsulating version of the image. And so you get to see the tiny little details of the artwork. And this is one of the ones that got that special treatment. Water Dragon didn't so much, but 100 Years does. And so when you blow up this picture, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it's this girl, and she's laying down on what looks to be like a stone slab, taking a 100-year nap. But it's dreamlike, and it's beautiful, and it's one of two Josephine Walls that I really, really adore. The other Jo Wall is Minerva, I think is what it's called. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 100 Years. I just flabbergasted. Just absolutely blown away by this incredible gift. So, ladies, thank you both so very much. Like I said, I'm going to have to get Water Dragon started this year. My plan was to start Lady Seated at Her Needlework. Lady Seated at Her Needlework by the Hungarian artist from the Art of the Antiquities section on Heaven and Earth Designs website. My plan was to start that during Mania, but I think it might have to be Water Dragon now. I'll have to look at my fabric and see if I can fit that on the piece that I've got, because just so cool. So thank you both very much. And I have another something that's going to come up later, so when I get to the book section, make sure you're sticking around for that. While we're on the subject of things that I received, I'm going to talk to you about something else that I received. And I don't feel like I have a way of introducing this. It came in the mail, and I don't know, it couldn't have come at a better time. So earlier this week I had a fall, and more than anything I bruised my ego, but my knees hurt like a lot. And so stitching this week was a little light, on top of being sick and everything like that. And then I got this package in the mail. Actually, truth be told, I posted on Instagram stories, and Diana from It Is Kismet Stitches was like, "Go check your mail. That might help cheer you up." And I was like, "What is she? What?" I asked her straight up, "What did you do?" And she was being really coy, and so Danny went to the mailbox for me, and he brought home this package. And I opened it, and I gasped. Like, straight like that. I just... First of all, Diana's sneaky, because she never asked for my address, but she got it. But I'm just blown away. So, you might have seen it on her Instagram, but she recently completed a set of project bag and then a notions pouch to go with it. And the project bag is in Vanna the Twisted Stitcher's, her project envelope. And it is this. It's the Magic Potions fabric. So this is the notions pouch. And so this one here is magic needle oil. And this one is troll elixir. This is so much fun to look at. Black cat wart potion. Sewing powder. Unbelievable. How cool is that? This is for my poison garden. Because magic potions, poison garden, it all just fits. So that's the notions pouch. And it's got all the beads in there. And then this big baby is the project bag. And I am over the moon. I am so in love with this. Real quick, I'm gonna say I'm so in love with this to like everything this week. I'm in love with everything. Unbelievable. So this is my first ever legit project bag. Like, legit. Not those plastic envelopes that I get from Hobby Lobby, but I have a Diana made bag. I'm so excited. And it's perfect. This project has so many threads. 20 Karen water lilies, like 15 cards of Petite Treasure braid, 10 cards of Petite Silk Lame braid. It's, you know, it's all of Martina's goodness. And this is just so perfect for it. It fits well, and I'm obsessed. Thor is also obsessed, so I have to keep him away from this. But it's so wonderful. So, Diana, thank you for being so wonderful. I'm gonna have to come up with an effective way to say thank you, because I'm feeling all shades of spoiled. All shades of spoiled. So, yeah. Overwhelmed. Just overwhelmed. Okay, so we're like 20 minutes into this, give or take. I have no idea at this point. Let me go ahead and start showing you some things that I have worked on. So, whips, here we go. Last week, last Wednesday, I told you that I was going to be working on Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia through the end of the year, so through Sunday evening. So you'll be seeing a preview here of what this looked like the last you saw it. And here's what she will look like finished. Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia. This is an out-of-print pattern. On Instagram, I'm using the hashtag She's a Foxy Lady, as well as Lady of Gratitude Sal. So follow my progress on there if you'd like. And my fabric is, last time I goofed up the name. It is a 32 count Belfast in vintage blue Whisper, not vintage Whisper. So I'm really, really pleased with what I got done. At first I didn't think I did all that much because stitching was, it was kind of limited with everybody being sick and, you know, things and stuff. But I'm pretty pleased. Oh, yeah. So this has been put away for the last week. 5 days now. And I forgot. Ugh, that flag. Isn't that just perfection? Nora is a flippin' genius. She really was a genius. She really is a genius. I say was because I always tag my chatelaines with Martina Weber as a genius. And so earlier this week I was conflicted on whether I should tag that Martina Weber was a genius or still is. I think I went with is. Anyway, so loving that. So all of the skin on her neck and face is done. That part of the skin is finished. And then my final goal was to get the torch in. And I got up Sunday morning and I was like, all right, I'm going to tackle that. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And if I get that done, then I can put this away happily. And in order to get the torch in, I had to grid from here up here. And so I counted approximately 25 times just to make sure I had it right. But I do. I have it right. It's in the right spot. First try. Woo. That was a little scary. But I got the torch in, and there's a bunch of beads. That's why it looks a little holy. And some Krennic. This torch, I don't know how I feel about it. It is not symmetrical. So there are these gray stitches up here, and you would think that there would be an even amount, like on either side of the wick. No, not at all. It is all weird, all different. Things are shifted funny, and so I debated back and forth on whether I was going to fix that and make it symmetrical or leave it as is. I decided to leave it as is. I let my obsessive tendencies go on that, as you can see. I mean, there's this, is it black? Yeah. This black band of stitches here, and then these little spokes don't even line up. There's some beads that are going to go in there, and so I'm really hoping that those beads are going to detract from how weird that looks right now. So, yeah. So the reason that I wanted to get the torch done before I put this down is that I've set a couple of goals. The first one is to have the project finished by the end of the year. At the very latest, at the end of the year. The whole thing, all 340 stitches deep by 170 stitches wide. All done. Beads and everything. And so I kind of did some quick calculation, not really calculations, but some guesstimating. And I determined that I need to have the top half done without the beads, but the top half done by April, by end of April. And then I will have through November to do the big dress portion. So I'll have roughly, 6 months, give or take, to do the bottom of her dress. And then I can bead in the last month. And that's if it takes me that long to do all of that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There is a lot of big chunk stitching in this. As mirabilia skirts are. There's just some big chunks of color. You can see like this red section right here. It was a big space. So I think that getting the top half done by April is achievable. But here's what I have to do to make that happen. I need the skin done by the end of January. And there's not a whole lot of skin in this. There's this arm holding the torch, And then there's another arm down here holding a bouquet of flowers. So this arm holding the torch, and this arm holding, really she's holding a lot, the flag as well as the flowers. Can somebody like help her a little bit? She's got the torch to handle, she's got her crown, she's got these flowers, and this flag that she's not letting touch the ground. Like, can somebody help her hold some of this? Anyway, also Needle Minder's Christmas fox, I decided to stick with it because I needed a fabulous fox for this. And then American flag woodcut. So top half is about, let me see. Top half is about there. Well, is all of that in this top half? Let me see. Okay, it's a little bit lower than that. So it's like there. Top half by April. But I'm telling you, if I can get that skin done in January and everything above it, then this is an achievable goal. But we'll have to wait and see. So here's the complication with this. This is a Year of Whips 2.0 piece. And I have made the decision that as of January 1st, I'm not working on any Year of Whips pieces until Year of Whips starts. It doesn't start till the 18th. So I'm not working on this until the 18th. I had shown you guys my calendar when I did all of that planning discussion about how this was going to get the second full 4 days of each month. I was going to work on Lady of the Flag. But what I think I'm going to do, since obviously that would be next week, that is, prior to the 18th, the first full 4 days following the 18th, which is, I believe, the third, let me think, the fourth full week of the month, I'm going to give it that. And then there are 3 days for the final week of the month. And so non-weekend days of the final week of the month. So I may give this those additional 3 days to really get that done. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see how it goes. But yeah, not doing this until the 18th at least. So yeah. So one last view. There she is. She's gorgeous. Love, love, love. Okay, so let's get to New Year's Day. Or more specifically, New Year's Eve, midnight. So Danny and I watched the last couple minutes before the ball dropped, and we watched the, from New York, Ryan Seacrest, I think. Anyway, we just watched the very bitter end of it and saw all of the crazy people that had been standing outside in New York City on the coldest day, like in recent memory, since 8 a.m. Crazy people. I would love to do New York New Year's Eve, but like rent one of the apartments and be able to stay inside, because no. So much no. Anyway, so we watched the ball drop, and then I went to go stitch after we had our New Year's Eve kiss unit. You know how it goes. And so I started my darling poison garden. And this is by Chatelaine. It is, it's phenomenal. I've had such a blast working on this. So, yeah. Put that down there. So I am stitching this on the, on 28 antique white cashel linen from Zweigart. Yes, it's boring, but that's okay. It came with the kit. It was big enough for the project. In fact, too big. I had to trim it down. So I cut off an inch so that it could fit on my biggest Millennium. Because, yeah, that's a thing. And so I got started. And what I decided to do was start at the center, because that is my experience with these Chatelaine mandala designs, is to start at the center. And let me make sure I have this top. Although it doesn't matter to you guys what's the top. That really only matters to me. I'm just going to fold this all up. So here's what I got done in 4 days and then a little tiny bit this morning. It's just so beautiful. And I'm in love. I'm loving this. So I don't know how much of this is going to come across, and so I may insert some pictures to sort of help it along. This is so far just silks and petite treasure braid. No DMCs have come into the picture yet, and I haven't broken into the silk lamaze. But there we have it. I also haven't done any specialty stitches, unless you count 1/1. There's a ton of 1/1 in this. These little medallions here in the corners are 1/1 stitches. And I think there's a total of 10 colors of silks in there. 10. And then 1 petite treasure braid. 1/1. Ain't that exciting? But it really is. It's been a joy to work on. So you see at the top here, that purple, and underneath it, it might be my new favorite Gloriana. That is Gloriana 017, I think. Don't quote me on that number. I might insert it below if that's wrong, but it's called Deep Blue Sea. And it is such a beautiful thread. I mean, all of the threads in this, don't get me wrong, are stunning. Martina has a way with color. I'm just going to use her name in present tense because I can't even with the past tense. Anyway, she has a way with color. And she always picked the greatest. She always picks the greatest colors. And this Gloriana Deep Blue Sea, just breathtaking. So these little 1/1 medallions here, sometimes they look muddy. I'm not going to lie, they look a little muddy. But then sometimes I'm like, you know, I get it. I get it. So if you were on the fence about this design, just do it. Just do it. I know I'm not the only one currently stitching it. Obviously, there's a few people on the Chatelaine support group that are well into it. I know somebody else that's getting ready to start it, but I don't know if she has mentioned that she's starting it. So I won't spill the beans there. And then Angel from, she is a girl with a needle on Instagram. She is Angel's Craft World on FlossTube. She started this also for New Year's, and it's been a blast following her on Instagram as she works on this because, first of all, she's ahead of me, and second of all, we've taken different routes, different approaches to it, and I think that's fascinating that two stitchers can work on the same design with the exact same materials. She's also using the cashel that came with the kit from European Cross Stitch as well as the threads. And it's just fascinating to see the different direction that, despite all of the similarities, we're being different. And I love that. Love that. So I'm super impressed. I did not reach my goal. My goal was to finish the center this month, but I couldn't do that because complications this week. Stitching, for, you know, all of the reasons, hasn't been the easiest. But I'm in love, and I'm looking forward to working on this some more. That is my Poison Garden Hortus Venenum. I use both terms interchangeably. I really like the Hortus Venenum Latin version a little bit better, just because it adds to the air of mystery. But yeah, loving that. So this morning, per my rotation, per my calendar that I showed you guys before, my weekends are for full coverage stitching. and this being the first weekend of the month, it is dedicated to my project that I have picked for the Full Coverage Fanatics monthly challenge. And so it was really hard to put Poison Garden down. But not only do I not want to fail my rotation so early in the game, but I was ready to do some full coverage stitching. I'm in the mood. This morning I pulled it out, and I'm happy. I'm only a little bit sad that I didn't get to work on Frosty. Hortus Venenum a little bit longer. So, let me take that off. And I would normally insert a preview of what this looked like last time. However, I only worked on this for a very short period of time this morning before getting ready. And so I'll just point out what I did. But this is Snow Castle by Randall Spangler for Heaven and Earth Designs. And I am working on page 1. My goal for this is a little bit lofty, but I'm hoping to finish page 1 this month. We'll see if it happens that way. There are some things that may interrupt that plan. So, get these parked threads out of the way. There we go. And grab my trusty foam core. There we go. So, I've done this block, and I've started on this block, and that's all I've done so far today. My goal for this 3 days, I have it through Sunday. I'd really like to get 1,800 stitches done, but there are some things this weekend that are going to impact that. First of all, I'm filming today, and so that always cuts into my stitching time a little bit. Saturday, tomorrow, is the Northern Virginia, I always get this name mixed up, the DC Area Metro Stitchers Meetup, which I'll be going to, and this is not really great stitching for the meetup, so I'm going to take something else. And so I won't get to stitch a ton on this tomorrow, so Sunday is going to have to be my big day, which I think is possible. Tomorrow, Danny is going to go to his brother's to do some board gaming, because they are big in the board games right now, and so he's going to be out late, and so he'll probably sleep in on Sunday. So I'll get to do some good stitching on Sunday. So we'll see if I can reach that 1,800 this weekend. If not, that's okay, because this one comes out for 2 more weekends this month. And so I have some opportunity to get the page done. We'll see sort of what happens. Before I switch over into plans, I just kind of want to talk about something that occurred to me Monday morning. Monday morning the 1st. So last year my trifecta was Heaven and Earth Design, Mirabilia, Chatelaine. And so I finished my Chatelaine Frosty Knot Garden, my Mirabilia Persephone, and my Heaven and Earth Design Faces of Fairy 201. And then shortly thereafter, I made this decision that I was limiting my new starts, and I was making starts special again, and so I imposed these rules of when I can start things. My last 3 new starts, I started Mirabilia Lady of the Flag, Heaven and Earth Design Snow Castle, and Chatelaine Hortus Venenum. So my trifecta that I finished last year, I ended the year / started this year with those same 3 designers. Boy, am I predictable. I've got a box, and I just live in that box. By the way, on the subject of trifectas, I'm not trying it this year. Here's why. I have decided that I think Teresa Wentzler is going to be my 3rd trifecta piece. And then Northern Expressions Needlework and Joan Elliott. So Joan Elliott I can get done this year. But Northern Expressions Needlework I can't, because as of As of right now, I only have one Northern Expressions needlework since I UFO'd Shades of Wine, and that is not quite white work by Northern Expressions. And that thing is so far off from finishing, it's not even funny. Like, I'm more likely to get in this moment done than I am to get not quite white work done, because that thing is so huge. And then Teresa Wensler. So if I'm going to do those three, I need to not attempt a trifecta this year. So I may start the Teresa Wensler this year and sort of get my feet wet and get into the groove with it before I decide to embark a new trifecta. Now let's switch over and talk about plans. I mentioned that through this weekend I am working on Snow Castle by Heaven and Earth Designs, and then on Monday morning is the start of my next week. I talked earlier about the fact that I wasn't working on Lady of the Flag until after the 18th, because that's when your Year of Whips starts. And as such, I'm not working on any of my Year of Whips designated pieces until that point. Ironically enough, those are the ones that I really want to work on right now, but I'm going to hold off. I'm going to stick to my guns with that, and I'll do that later. So I was staring at my calendar trying to figure out what am I going to put here? Because there are 2 officially 4-day rotations that don't have anything in them since I moved Lady of the Flag to a little bit later. And so I decided to fill those 4-day rotations with a random number generator project. And so I random number generated from the remaining, I think I have, I don't know, 50 something. I random number generated from the remaining whips outside of my Year of Whips 2.0 and pulled up 2 projects. And so I'm going to go with that. So my first one, the one that I'm working on next week, is my Birthstone Dragon Cell by Ingleside Imaginarium. And I'm so excited to start to work on this some more. I'm seeing everybody's progress on the Guardians of the Notre Dame, the Chimeras that Brittany put out this year, and everything in me wanted to get that and to start it immediately. But because I am so finish focused right now, I decided that I need to finish the Salves that I'm currently working, so this one and the Fantasy Salve by Lakeside Needlecraft. I need to finish those 2 before I add any more, despite the fact that there are so many that are jumping out at me that I need to start. But I don't need to start them. I need to finish these first. So if I'm going to spend some time working on Guardians of Notre Dame, then I might as well devote that effort to this. And so here is where I am starting from. I have through June complete, and so I need to work down the border a little bit and then get going on July. And I think, before I talk about that, my fabric here is 32 count Belfast in Sparkling Diamonds by Crafty Kitten. This was from her 2016, yeah. She ran a like a box, a themed subscription box kind of thing for the birthstones, and so this one was the one for April in diamonds, Sparkling Diamonds. Now I'm going to pull out my Bujo because what I want to talk to you about actually pertains to a question that I have. So I set up my monthly pages. Trying to think. So let me pull up my monthly pages here. So on this side I have a calendar. And on the left side of this calendar are some things that I need to remember. And so the full coverage on the 5th is today. And since it lands on the weekend, I can participate in that Sal through Stitch Mania. My blog post for Whipocalypse is due on the 7th, and so I marked that down so that I keep that in mind. Year of Whips starts on the 18th, and so woohoo for that. And then at the bottom here, the color a day challenge for Aquarius, which is electric blue or turquoise. I put that down. I'm not sure if I'm going to work on that, but we shall see. See what happens. So there's that. On the right side of this calendar are things that may interfere with my stitching plans. So I have some appointments and things coming up this week, or coming up in the month, that I need to pay attention to. At the top here are the Mania sales. I may remove that because it is repeated over here. This section is sales this month, and then what planned projects I have for those sales. So these are not all of the sales in existence this month. These are just the sales that I'm going to be participating in. So we have the Full Coverage Fanatics ones, and then we have the Stitch Mania ones. So I have my New Year, New Start, my full coverage on the 5th, and I'm still on the fence about the color a day. So there's that. I'm going to skip this section real quick. End of month stats. So I kind of, I'm a numbers girl, so I'm going to keep track of my let's see, how many starts I have, how many whips I work on, how many finishes I get, how many UFOs, number of stitches, and page finishes. Number of stitches is interesting. So I mentioned in goal setting for 2017 that I wanted to track the number of stitches I did throughout the year just to see what my total is. And then I totally fell off the bandwagon with that. So I'm going to be keeping a much more accurate record of my number of stitches this year. I just want to see how many stitches I do in a year. I think that would be fascinating. Okay, so let me come back up here real quick. These are the projects and plans and goals. So these are the projects that I plan on working on this month. And then what goal have I set for them? So for instance, Hortus Venenum by Chatelaine, I wanted to start it. So you can see the little red check mark over that. And then I wanted to finish the center, and that's what that F in a circle means. Snow Castle by Heaven and Earth Designs, I want to finish page 1. Birthstone Dragon Sail by Ingleside Imaginarium, I want to finish July and start August. So you see the little S there. This is sort of spoiling things, but Prairie Schooler Alphabet is the other project that I random number generated. And so A is for Anchor. I want to finish that one. And that I can count for Stitch from Stash. So that's pretty cool. Lady of the Flag, I want to finish the skin. In This Moment by Heaven and Earth Designs, this is my by the numbers piece for Full Coverage Fanatics. I have to get at least 1,200 stitches, but I'm aiming for 1,500. Flower of the Month by Ellen Moore Stroh. I talked about those last 3 days. So you see down here that we have Sunday the 28th, so that'll be a full coverage day. And then we have the 29th, 30th, and 31st. And I talked about maybe using those 3 days for Memorabilia Lady of the Flag if I need to. If I don't, and I've reached essentially all my other goals, then I will likely pull out Flower of the Month, because it's a Year of Whips piece to work on February. So that's kind of my thinking there. And so my goal for that is to finish the February block. I've got big goals. I'm not going to hold myself so accountable where I get upset if I don't reach them all. It's okay. I'm just a goal-oriented person. If I set a goal, then I've got somewhere to reach to. And so it's perfectly fine if I don't get there. But I just like to be able to piece out these projects and decide what I want to get done. So this is something that I'm going to do every month. I don't think that I'll go through it every month, but just wanted to show you here today. There's been a lot of discussion about using bullet journals and planners and happy planners and Erin Condren's and custom-made journals. And so this is just a way that I'm formatting things in case people are looking for ideas. Bujo for cross stitch. On any of the social media, you don't pull up a whole lot. Specifically designed for cross stitch. It's not easy. So here's some ideas. Okay, then we have my Stitch from Stash ledger. We have my book log. And this I developed from Oak Tree Journaling. That's oak.tree.journaling on Instagram. Her book log is beautiful. She's an artistic bujoer, but this is my simplified version of it. And so what you have here is this bar with the lines through it. That's where I started the month. And so you see this legend down here. It says start, and it shows that. Up through the 5th is the gray. And so up through today, I have finished this book. And then I have some other things to fill out with this because I need to update the pages on this, and I've read some a little bit. So anyway, there's that. So this is a really cool way to see how much I read and when and where and how it all fits. And then nothing, because I don't know what else I'm going to do. I might end it there with my bujoing. As far as monthly pages, I don't think I'm going to do any dailies or weeklies, just because that's not in my life. But I might put in some to-do lists, maybe some chore lists. We'll see. Okay. Next, I'm flipping back to the last. It is more than 100 pages. I think I have 110 pages designated for this in the back. And this is my alternative to my whip list. Handmade Wombat, I believe, on Instagram, is where I got the inspiration for this. So I told you guys that I wanted to count my stitches this year. And I kind of want to track that for each project. How many days do I devote to each project? I'm all about the numbers. So I created, or I should say, I will create one of these pages for every single one of my projects. And so far, I am through whip number 4. So I got a long ways to go. And this smudge right here, left-handed problems. Anyway, so what we have here is the number on this little flag, the name, designer, source where I got the chart from, stitch count. This is important for Stitch from Stash. So I thought that it was really good to have this information here for calculating Stitch from Stash. Fabric, start date, and then finish date when I finish it. Any notes. I have a little section here for any notes. I've decided not to... Michelle Bradley, Queen Bee Stitcher, she recently put out her bullet journal setup in her stunning handwriting, and just her essential whip tracker. And she writes down all of the threads that she's using, and I have decided that unless I'm making some major changes, I'm not going to keep track of the threads. But that is an alternative for you. You should check out that video, and I'll make sure to link it down below. If for nothing else than to see her wonderful handwriting. It's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so then down here, I have these labels that I printed out. And it's on a sticker that I just stuck there to the page. And so we have each month here. And what I'm going to write down at the end of the month, let's say I work on Rose Fairy for a day, and I put in 75 stitches in that one day. So I would write down 75 and then in parentheses 1. So down here you can see stitches and then the number of days and effort that I put into that project. And then on this side of it, pre-2017, I have no idea how many days I worked on it pre-2017. Not a clue, I wasn't tracking this. And then I worked on this for 12 days total in 2017, and that is something that I started tracking pretty significantly in 2017. So that much at least I know. Oh, sorry, I hit myself in the face with a book. And then if I don't finish it this year, or even if I do, at the end of the year, I'll put down that information, the totals. So if I work 45 days on it this year, let's say, then it will say 45 days and the total number of stitches I put in on it this year. So there's that. And so I have one for over here for Under the Moonlight. Again, no idea what I did pre-2017. This one is massive, 215 by 299. Yeah, that's big. And then we have Opus 2, and then in quotes, the nickname Maggie. You can see where I had a bit of a typo, but I am not to be bothered with that. Also, pretty large, 201 by 236. So there's that. And again, notes DMC 924. That's only pertinent to this because that's what I'm stitching this in. And over here we have In This Moment, also known as McKenna. So there's that. And that's it. So I am trying to do at least 4 of these pages a day because they do take a little while. Left-handed problems. I have to let the ink dry before I can rub my hand over it again. But that is just a real quick run through of my Bujo. So there is that. Okay, so that's it for the planning things. Okay, so let's do books next. So I have a couple of books to talk about. And the first is the book that I finished. Finally! Finally! I'm so excited. So I finished this a couple days ago. I started it at first in April of last year, and then again in August. I put it down for a little while. And that is The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. This is not a Lily read. This is adult. It's tagged as historical fiction, although it's also contemporary. And this is about a girl who, she's dealt with some loss, and she is in her mid-20s. She's a little bit lost herself. She befriends this guy at her grief counseling session. They have like group sessions and whatnot. She befriends this man who's in his 80s, in his 90s even, I think. And so they sort of hit it off, and they develop this friendship, this relationship. And then, I'm not spoiling anything with this, but this gentleman, Joseph, asks Sage to kill him. And the reason for such is that he has been trying to die for a very long time because he is an ex-SS officer for the Nazis. And he's never paid for his crimes, but he has done some terrible things, and he's remorseful, and he's been trying to die for a very long time. He wants it to end, and he's been unsuccessful. He won't take his own life, and so he has asked for her help. What you don't know off reading the back, but what becomes apparent very quickly, is that the main character, Sage is her name, she is a descendant of an Auschwitz survivor. And so then becomes this humongous moral dilemma where she's a lot to deal with, him asking her this, and sort of trying to tread waters and figure out how she's going to handle this. Anyway, so you can imagine that this is a very difficult read. It's not an easy read, and it's certainly an adult read. You know Jodi Picoult, she always tackles the tough issues. So, I ended up rating this 3.5 stars. And the reason for such is that there are some plot holes, and I didn't love the way it ended. There are parts of it that are really strong, and there are parts of it that are really weak. She develops a relationship with somebody, and it's really weird. I also felt like the theme of forgiveness was beaten over my head with an 85-pound hardcover book. A lot. It was kind of too much. Forgiveness. This is why you forgive. This is what forgiving is about. It was over-explained about forgiveness. And while I appreciate her applying the theme of forgiveness to different portions of the story to really get the point across, it just felt like overkill. So there was that. There are parts of this book that make me cry. I liked the main character. Sage. I did not care for another character whose name I can't even remember. Leo? Is it Leo? Now I'm feeling wrong. Leo. It is Leo. Okay. I appreciated the character of Joseph. I think that his character was done really well. If a little bit unorthodox. I loved the character of Minka. And her story just broke my heart into 6 million pieces. 6 million. Yeah. So anyway, so it was good. 3.5 stars. I wouldn't call it a bad book. If you are a person who, it's such a strange thing to say, but if you are a person who enjoys World War II historical fiction or nonfiction, then I would read this. And if, let me see, Pete. The other cool thing about this is that it's told from the perspective of different characters. And so it uses different font styles for the different characters. So, I don't even know who that is. Oh, that might be Joseph. Anyway, that's kind of cool. I like that formatting when they use a different font for a different voice. That's pretty cool. So it's interesting. It was good. It was my first ever Jodi Picoult. I may read another, but I don't know. I have the 10th Circle, and I also have My Sister's Keeper somewhere. Anyway, so there's that. So I finished that up. I had 130 pages left, and I read it all in a sitting. What took me so long, I don't know, but anyway, there's that. So yesterday I had to run an errand. Bulldog problems. Thor has skin sensitivities, and he has to eat basically a cardboard diet for the rest of his life, poor thing. But his skin reacts to a whole host of different things, and so that's what we have to do to keep him comfortable. But it's a prescription diet, and the cheapest way to get it is through my vet, and my vet is an hour and a half north of here. Yesterday was the bomb cyclone that hit the Northeast, and it hit Virginia, but not central Virginia. We got maybe a half an inch of snow. The kids are out of school, by the way, just so you know. But anyway, we got maybe half an inch of snow, but it was incredibly windy yesterday. That was pretty intense. But I had to drive up north to go get his food and then drive back. So I was in the car for roughly 3 hours yesterday. All of that to say I downloaded an audiobook. And for a challenge that I'm participating in on Goodreads, I needed a book. Either the author's first or last initial has to start with A, or the title of the book has to start with A. And so usually for audiobooks, and especially if I'm driving, I like audiobooks for books that I've read before. And so I decided to pick up this. So this is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. This is young adult sci-fi it is sci-fi and fantasy and dystopian all rolled into one. And I believe it's from 2011. Where's the year here, Beth? There it is. 2011, I was right. And this went through a major cover overhaul, which makes me really sad, but, you know, whatever. It's a trilogy. I've not read past this first book. I'd really like to, but it has been 5 years since I read this. So, and I read the whole thing in one day. And it's a good size book. It's north of 300 pages. It's almost 400 pages. So I decided to give this a reread so that I could then potentially read the rest of the series. And so I downloaded this. This is also not a Lily read. There are some moments of this that are dark. Like, really dark. And also some kind of adult themes going on here. So not a Lily read, but super good if you're not a Lily. So there's that. So that I started on an audiobook. The night that I finished The Storyteller, I went ahead and just immediately picked up my book for my sibling book club. Is that what we're calling it, Matt? I can't remember now. And I've only read a couple pages from this, so I have no opinions yet. But that is The Snow Child by A.O. and Ivy. And these first two words are the reason why I'm really excited about this. Alaska, 1920. I'm in. So this is a book about a couple, and they live in Alaska in 1920, which is brutal in and of itself. It is a couple, and they've been trying to have kids, and they're just not having success with it. I think they experience a loss, and so they're drifting apart as a couple. And for the first snow of the season, together trying to hold on to this marriage that they have, they go outside and they build a snowman. But it's a child. It's like a child-sized snowman. And the next morning, they get up and this snow child is gone. But they see this girl running through the woods and like no parents, nothing. So brutal living conditions, the 20s in Alaska, and a fairy tale aspect. This is well loved by so many people. The Oprah magazine quoted saying, "A magical yet brutally realistic tale." So, really excited to get into this. Very excited. This is why... Okay, so this has been my bookmark forever. You guys are going to laugh at this. So this has been my bookmark forever. And what this is my ticket to the Battle at Bristol. Brittany, Lily, are you guys seeing this? How funny is that? So this is my ticket. They gave us these really cool laminated plasticky sort of long-lasting tickets for the game, and so this has been my ticket forever. I normally use like paper regular season tickets because they're just the right size as bookmarks, but this isn't falling apart from flipping from book to book. So I thought that was oddly ironic that you guys happen to be Volunteers fans, because that's my book, or bookmark rather. So anyway, so there's that. So I'll be reading this, and I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, last topic for conversation. We are going to talk about some knitting. So you guys know I have some pretty big knitting plans for this year. And so on the 1st, I cast on my 2 new projects. And so I'm going to start with this one. And this is just like 12 degrees of perfect. So this is my Little House on the Prairie bag from Little Skein and the Big Wool. They ran a special where you got project bag and stitch markers and soak and yarn and pattern for this Little House on the Prairie inspired design. And so I participated, and so this is the cute little bag. And inside is my project for the Willy Wonka Palooza project for January. And our prompt for this month is gray or lace, or lace. And so I am knitting the Rochambeau cowlet. And so that's what it will look like finished. It's a scowl, and so it looks like a shawl, but it fits like a cowl in the sense that it's connected, so it's not going to fall off my shoulders. And I am knitting this in gray. So it's gray and lace. And what I'm using is the Plucky Knitter Primo Fingering in the colorway. Primo Fingering is 385 yards of a 75% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 5% nylon. And this is the colorway Kindred Spirits by Anne of Green Gables. And so, let me see if I can take the belly band away. You can kind of see it right here is the most accurate of what the color looks like. Go figure. That's where the light is. And so I got a pretty good start on this. It starts out like a shawl, and then I'll join it once I reach a certain point. It's just a really kind of basic construction shawl at the moment. It's double increases, and we're getting bigger as we go. Stockinette and everything. This is on my Chiago US size 4, I believe. Yes, US size 4, 3.5 millimeter needles, and I am loving it. And I have a little progress keeper here, so the next time I show you, I can show you how far I get. Now, here's the fun part with this. Okay, so this project is for the Woolly Wonka Palooza, which is run by Ann P., who is Woolly Wonka Fibers. This yarn, Kindred Spirits, the colorway is based on Anne of Green Gables. Anne, A-N-N-E, so another Anne with an E. The woman behind Little Skein in the Big Wool is also an Anne with an E. So I thought this bag was so perfect. And I just happened to recently empty this out. So yeah, that's perfect. But wait. My progress keeper here, which was sent to me by Anne from Woolly Wonka Fibers, came on this, Anne without an E, Tudor LLC. Are you kidding me? So this is a Lampwork glass stitch marker, or progress keeper. All of the Anne. So I'm officially going to call this like the Anne Cowlette or something. It's so perfect. Yeah, I'm digging this. And I like the modeling on the colorway. You can kind of see the light and the dark portions. When you look at it in the ball or in the skein, it doesn't look that modeled, but it's turning out pretty. I'm a fan. So there's that. And so I'll work on this some more. I have a little bit more work to go before I join in the round. I think I'm going to have to switch to my smaller cable because I think this might be too much. My next project is in my very hairy bulldog bag. And I told you guys that I was planning on casting on for a pair of socks. So this is Tough Love Sock by Sweet Georgia in the West Wind colorway, which is this gorgeous Tiffany blue. Maybe a little paler than true Tiffany blue. And so I cast on for a pair of socks. Now, one thing you should know. So I've decided that I was going to knit one sock a month. And I figured that that would give me enough time to not freak out about meeting some crazy deadline to get the socks finished. So I thought, okay, so I'm going to knit one in January and the second in February. And then I thought, you know, socks, it really boils down to 4 parts. You have the cuff, which is usually 1x1 or 2x1 or 2x2 ribbing, which when you knit English style is slow. So that counts as 1 part. Part 2 is the leg. Part 3 is the heel. That is something that I'm going to have to spend some good quality quiet time to get done. Part 4 is the foot and the toe. I guess you could technically call the toe like a 5th part, but I'm just going to lump them together. So I thought, okay, there are 4 parts to a sock and there are 4 weeks to a month. That's perfect. So week 1, I'll do the cuff. Week 2, I'll do the leg. Week 3, you know, etc. So when I show this to you, you're going to understand how I'm feeling about this whole process. Keep in mind that today is the 5th of January. So I knit the cuff on day 1. And I went with a 2x2 rib. And then I've been working on the body ever since, the leg. Just, just moving quite along. So this is on Knitter's Pride Carbons. And they are size, I'm not going to get the millimeters, but it's US 1.5. I think that might be 2.25 millimeters, but don't quote me on that. I'll put it down here. And I don't believe it's written on these needles. Oh, it is! 2.5, according to US Carbons. 1.5, 2.5. And I am knitting these Magic Loop. This, I should say. I don't have both yet. But I'm knitting it Magic Loop. And I'm like really, really digging this so far. So let me stick my hand in here so you can see this. I have no ladders in the ribbing whatsoever, which is truly astounding to me to not have any ladders in there. That's crazy. And then I have a little bit of laddering going on in the leg. Of course, now you can't really see it. So you can kind of see when I'm not stretching it out how these stitches look a little loose. They look a little wonky. And that is just from being at this break. So it's going really, really well. Which it shouldn't come as that much of a surprise, because when I first tried to knit a sock last year, this part went surprisingly smooth. So the heel is going to be the test. And I have decided, I think, that I am going to do the heel flap and gusset. Because here's the thing with me in knitting. If I can't do something, then that's all the more inspiration for me to try again, and to try it until I get it. Knitting did not come easily to me. I did not have an easy go of getting started knitting, but it was this bug in my ear. Like, you can't figure this out, it's sticks and string, like, you can do this. So I just had to keep trying until I got it right, and so that's going to be the case here. However, I'm going to do something differently with this, and I'm going to use a lifeline, so that if the heel goes and does its own thing, then I am going to have a lifeline in so that I can pull it out, and pull out that heel and try again. Does it mess with the integrity of the stitches? Yeah, pulling it out does, because it stretches the yarn a little bit. Knitting stretches the yarn a little bit, but it will be worth it to not have a situation like I did with the other socks where I ripped it all out. That was sad, especially after all that work I had put in. So I want to say I'm probably at about 5, maybe 6 inches. Not even 6 inches, maybe 5 inches at this point. I did 2 inches of cuff, so yeah, we're probably at 5 inches. I'm going to go to 7 inches total before I start the heel. By the way, I cast on 64 stitches for the sock knitters out there. I cast on 64 stitches using a long tail cast on, and I way overestimated what I was going to need, but that's okay. I knit the first row. That was a recommendation that I saw, because when you first cast on, your cast on is always so much tighter than your actual knitting is. And so I saw the recommendation to knit the first round rather than jump right into ribbing. It's just so much easier to handle that. And so far, I think that that's probably going to be my way to go. Plus, it tightens up the very edge of the cuff a little bit. This ribbing makes it stretchy so that it can fit around foot and calf and all of that jazz. But that knit row tightens it up a little bit. Not a lot, and not by any degrees that I can truly measure, but that way it may hold a little bit longer. I don't know if any of that's true, but it sort of gives me the impression of that. So yeah, so there's that. My gorgeous pale blue socks. Super boring, but digging it. And I really, really like this yarn, and I'm just going to keep going. Like, I'm not going to wait until next week to finish the leg. I'm just going to keep going. And if I finish the sock with a week left in the month, I might just cast on the next one, because second sock syndrome is a thing. Sock knitters, they have a hard time casting on the same project that they just finished in the same yarn that they just finished knitting with. And so I might just cast it on because I'm feeling good about having the first one done, and now I'm, more than halfway done with the project in general. By the way, Sweet Georgia Tough Love sock is 80% merino and 20% nylon, 425 yards. And yeah, I'm digging it. So I have a reason for my project bag for this. So Sweet Georgia Bulldog. Sorry, Diana. I'm going to keep going on this conversation about the college football playoff. Anyway, so I will be cheering for the Georgia Bulldogs in the college championship on Monday, because, number one, Clemson, Alabama, I could not care less who won that game. And if you're going to pick somebody to cheer for that's not your team, you might as well go with your favorite animal. And so I went with the Bulldog. So, Sweet Georgia Bulldogs. I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah, so that's it. That's it. Oh boy. So with that, y'all, I think that we have done it. I think that that's it. And so I am going to head off here. It's 3 o'clock. I need to get some lunch and maybe take some more meds and get to editing. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope that, like I said before, I hope your new year is off with a running start. I hope that you're enjoying everything that you're doing. And I hope that this year is everything and more that you could ever want it to be. I will thank you all for your continued support of me and my channel, and I will see you next time. Oh, real quick. Next Monday, I will be filming and uploading my Year of Whips preview video. So stay tuned for that Monday, unless horrible things happen between now and then. But Monday, Year of Whips 2.0. Check it out. And so I will see you all later. Happy stitching, happy crafting, happy reading, and as always, y'all, be kind. Present, big guy. Are you ready? Are you ready? What is that? What is that, Thor? Oh, is that for you? Is that for you? Get it. Get it, Bubs. Get it, Bubs. Get it. Get it. This is, oh yes, I want it. Here, take it. Can you take it? Can you take it? There you go. Oh, that's a big bone. Thor. Hey, Thor. Look at you, happy dog. Thor.